Hey guys, my name is Zoid, and most of you in this channel know me from competitive first-person shooters. This series of videos, however, is on Hearthstone, and it's specifically tailored towards those of you who, like me, may not have actually played a collectible card game in the past. I'm going to be taking matches from Hearthstone and adding commentary over it, looking at some of the mistakes that I make, some of the misconceptions that I brought in not having played collectible card games in the past, and hopefully you guys will be able to learn a lot as I learn with you in Hearthstone. I've fallen from rank 4 down to rank 5 in this video, and I'm going to be playing a deck that I call my Ranked Rogue, which is very similar to the Combo Wombo Rogue deck. It's designed specifically to give you card advantage. Every card in this deck is going to give you card advantage, whether it trades for more cards and more actions than it takes to kill, or it actually just lets you draw. So let's move into gameplay. I'm going to be facing up against a Paladin deck. There are two main Paladin decks that I come across in the current meta. The first and most common is a Paladin control deck that features an Equality, a Wild Pyromancer, Tyrian Fordring, and several other heavy hitters and board clears. The second deck is a Paladin aggro deck that features a lot of Divine Shields, low-cost minions, and a Blood Knight that can be pumped up to a 12-12 very easily. When you're playing against these decks, the thing that you want to use to differentiate is if they start playing minions early, you know you're going against an aggro deck. If they hold on to their minions, they're not playing a lot of cards outside of clears, they're probably going to be control. I decide to mulligan my Tinkmaster and my Defender of Argus. I mulligan the Tinkmaster because he's a counter card. I'm not going to use him until there's a large creature on the board around turn 6 or 7 that I have to use him for. I mulligan my Defender of Argus because I need my own cards out on the board for him to be effective. I come back with another Deadly Poison which I can use to combo in a Defias Ringleader second turn and bring out the Scrub. I really like these first turn Argent Squire plays. The Argent Squire has the Divine Shield, so it's going to take my opponent 2 actions to remove that from the board, and it gives me a little bit of cushion. On my next turn, I'm going to take that Argent Squire, hit my opponent in the face, and bring up a weapon. I don't attack because I know that I'm going to be using Deadly Poison next turn, and I'd rather have that 3 attack for 2 attacks rather than just the 1. I still don't know exactly what deck my opponent is playing. I can assume that he's going to be a control paladin because you don't see a lot of the aggro paladins in the current meta, but I'm going to wait and see what he does. He's going to end up coining into a Sword of Justice. So, the fact that he hasn't played any minions by the end of turn 3, and he just brought out the Sword of Justice, means that I know he is control. He's probably got a lot of clears, so I need to be careful about flooding my board with too many minions, but I need to do damage on him while I can and put him in a defensive state. In order to facilitate that, I use my Deadly Poison so that I can combo in my Defias Ringleader and get the Scrub. I now have 3 minions that can do a total of 5 damage on the board with my weapon. I attack with my weapon, trying to again put him on the defensive so that he has to trade his minions for mine and I can continue to attack him in the face. With Sword of Justice, any minion that my opponent summons is going to have an additional 1 attack and 1 toughness, which is why when he uses his hero ability, he ends up summoning a 2-2. Now, I know that turn 4 is coming up, and he might have a Consecrate, so this is going to largely affect my decision on this next play. I'm going to play a Shattered Sun Cleric, who is a 3-2 for 3 mana that will buff one of my own minions with 1-1. I could give this to my Argent Squire, making it a 2-2, which would be able to trade with his summoned hero ability, but I instead decide to give it to my Defias Ringleader. That's going to make him a 3-3 so that he can survive Consecrate and will require 1 more action to dispose of. I hadn't considered the possibility that he would Wild Pyromancer Equality me. A Wild Pyromancer Equality combo is when you play a Wild Pyromancer, which is a 2-mana 3-2 with the ability of doing 1 damage anytime a spell is cast. After the Wild Pyromancer is played, he's going to use Equality. Equality is a spell that changes everyone's hit points to 1. This is a guaranteed board clear, and nothing can survive it unless it has Divine Shield. Even though my board gets cleared of 3 cards here, I'm not all that upset. He's had to use his Wild Pyromancer Equality combination on some very weak minions, so he's only got 1 Equality left in there. He does have 2 other Consecrates which I'll have to worry about. Since my board is clear, I'm going to combo back in with Deadly Poison and Defias Ringleader so that I get some board presence back. I'm going to use 1 attack from my knife and get him in the face. Again, I'm trying to make him play defensively. I've already got him down to 15 hit points, so he's going to have to use his minions to trade against mine, while I can continue using my minions to attack his hero health and reducing that down to 0. This Consecration caught me a bit off guard, and I don't think it was the right play. I had a 2-2 and a 2-1 on the board that cost me 1 card, and he Consecrates. I don't think that there's enough value in that play, and that may be my inexperience in CCG speaking, but it's not a play that I would have made. Because I'm low on cards and I don't really have any other plays, I toss my Azure Drake out. I like to use Azure Drakes when I have a chance of comboing an Eviscerate or some other spell, but I don't have that option here, and I just need to get something out on the board. My opponent uses his Alder Peacekeeper to reduce my Azure Drake's attack down to 1. I, however, draw the perfect combination here with the Black Iron Dwarf and SI7 Agent. I'm going to buff my Azure Drake back up to a 3/4, and then I'll play my SI7 Agent. I'm seeing blood, and I feel that I can race him down, so I'm going to put all my damage into this Paladin's face. I combo the SI7 Agent in, and then I attack with the Azure Drake, and I wait to see what he does. I felt comfortable doing this because he's already used 1 Equality Wild Pyromancer and 1 Consecrate. That means that he doesn't have a lot of board clear left in his board, and I want to try and end this before he gets something very powerful out like his Tyrian Fordring. He is actually going to play one of the board clear combinations that I was worried about. He's going to play his Wild Pyromancer down, and then he's going to Consecrate. But he makes one very large mistake. Instead of attacking with his hero ability minion and killing one of my minions, he instead plays the Wild Pyromancer and then Consecrates, killing his own minion as well. Had he left that minion alive, he would have been able to get the kill on either my Black Iron Dwarf or my Azure Drake and completely cleared my board. Instead, he leaves me with a very strong play. I draw Gnomish Inventor, which is a card that will allow me to draw another card and is also a great target for buffs, and I have a Defender of Argus in my hand. This is an 8-mana play, which is going to leave me with a 5/2, a 3/3, and a 3/5 on the board, which is going to be very difficult for him to deal with. Again, we see that he's used both Wild Pyromancers, both Consecrates, and he still has 1 Equality left in his hand. Even if he uses that Equality, unless he uses Avenging Wrath, he's got very little way to clear my board. With no way to clear my board, I can expect him to try and extend the game. There are 4 cards I expect he has that can help extend this game. The first is Holy Light, which is a spell that will restore 6 health. The second is Guardian of Kings, which is a 7-mana 5/6 minion that also restores 6 health. The third is Lay on Hands, which is an 8-mana spell, which is going to restore 8 health and allow him to draw 3 cards. And the final way I believe that he has of extending this game is through playing Tyrian Fordring, who's the 8-mana legendary that comes with Divine Shield, Taunt. He's a 6/6 and will actually equip Ashbringer on his death. My opponent's decision will end up being to clear the minion that he can with his Wild Pyromancer and then play Lay on Hands, which is going to allow him again to draw 3 cards and restore 8 health. This brings him up to 10 HP, which is above the 6th threshold of minions that I have on the board, plus 1 with my hero ability, which will give me 7 damage. If I draw a charge, of which I have plenty in this deck, I will be able to kill him, and I do end up getting Leroy Jenkins, who is my most common finisher, which puts me above that 10 HP threshold, and I get the victory against this Paladin. That's going to do it for today's video. This is something that I'm going to try and do at least every other day. If you guys see any mistakes in my play that you want to point out that'll help me get better, feel free to mention those in the comments. If there's a question you have about a card that I used or why I did something, feel free to leave those in there. And if you want, feel free to add me in game. My name is Zoid, Z-O-I-D, pound 1942. I'd be happy to play some games with you, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and follow me on Twitter at ZoidBergenstein.